My name is Peter Forcelli. On September 11th, 2001, I was a brand new special agent assigned to the New York Field Division. During September of 2001, I was working on a case that involved a number of home invasions. So I was reporting pretty much on a daily basis to the U.S. Attorney's Office down in Lower Manhattan, which is about a quarter of a mile from Ground Zero. I left for work. It was a beautiful day, I remember. I had a government car that was kind of beat up because I was a newer agent. I had 170,000+ miles on it, no air conditioning. It was an old 1993 Cutlass Calais, so I was driving to work. Had the windows down, which was nice because it was a beautiful day with no air conditioning. That was a benefit. And I remember getting to around the Williamsburg Bridge when I got a phone call from my boss, Jerry Raffa, telling me that a plane had hit the World Trade Center. At that point, the skyscrapers blocked my view of the Trade Center, so I envisioned that it was a small propeller plane or a tourist-type plane. I never in a million years thought it would have been an airliner that carried passengers, like transcontinental-type plane. When I arrived on the scene, I saw that there was a large hole in the North Tower that had been hit by a plane. I was a police officer for 15 years before I came on with ATF, so realistically the only training that I had that was helpful is just what you learn as a cop, which was to try to keep people moving so that first responders can get to help those who were trapped in the building or those that were injured. So I was there for a short time at ground level and realized that there were people up in the plaza, which is one level up. So I ran up a set of concrete steps that's located on Vesey Street and Church Street, and I was in the plaza helping to keep people moving, again, just allowing first responders to be able to get into the complex, and that's when the second plane hit. So while I was there, there was a young EMT who was tending to a patient just a few feet away from me, and I remember looking at her. She's probably like 22, 24 years old. And then when that plane hit that second time, when I turned back to look in her direction, she'd been killed, like right there on the spot. So I continued just to do what I was doing, which again, you can't be trained for something like this because there's just so much happening, which was to just try to get folks to keep moving. Because now the scene had become even more dangerous because not only did you have one tower that was on fire, you had two. And there was debris falling from the buildings, and there were also instances where you would see people jumping from the buildings, which is a difficult thing to see and candidly to hear. So it was just a matter of just trying to help fill in the holes, deal with things as they arose and just try to do as much as you could to help the people who you could help. It's weird, like I've had people ask me, hey, were you scared? And truthfully, I wasn't scared, and it's not because I'm brave, because I'm not a brave guy, I'm just a regular human. So it was just like this really overwhelming feeling of kind of just being helpless, Frank. I mean, you just can't mentally prepare yourself for something of this magnitude. Now, so me and Bill Sheldon went and we found Kara and we got her out of the car and we brought her to Beekman Downtown Hospital, which is about a half a mile away. She wasn't walking very well, so we had to help her walk. And, she wasn't injured and she wasn't pinned in the car like you would expect, like from a car accident. She was just paralyzed with fear because she was pregnant at the time. And she was worried about how breathing that stuff in would affect her unborn child. So I remember when we took her to the hospital, as we were approaching the hospital, we saw right out front, there were empty gurneys and there were people outside in scrubs, doctors, nurses. And as we approached, they almost became like angry with us, like because they wanted to know where's all the patients. And here we were bringing one person for treatment. But it was weird, like they were expecting mass casualty incident, but what had happened is the folks that were in those buildings either got out or died. Bill Sheldon, who helped me get Kara to the hospital, later passed away of a 9/11 related cancer. In fact, I myself in 2017 had my right lung removed because I also wound up getting cancer as a result of responding to that attack. I lost 6 very good friends on September 11th that were cops with me, and one gentleman who was a cop who became a fireman. I lost him that day. Not easy to lose that many colleagues that you work with and that you went to barbecues with. Coping with that was challenging. But since then, I have lost 21 good friends to 9/11 related cancers.